Yes, hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. So we're excited when we have an occasion like the one today, because this means that we are presenting a new update for our software. So thanks for joining us. As you can see today, we will have Bo and Whitney. They will help me with this presentation because honestly, we have been working quite a lot in Gemvision, not just with the software, also on the website, the launcher. So in the next coming days, we will be releasing all this stuff. We already launched our new website. For our users, it's not a big change, but we improved some behaviors that we had to improve. Also, all the user area we have improved. So different spots that we thought that it would be better if we make some changes. And look, if there is anything that you think that we should improve, we always welcome any feedback on this site. So as I said, today we are with Bob Alot and Whitney Rogers. My name is Oriol Cudellemont. Probably most of you already know me. I'm the product director in Gemvision. Bob Alot is the Western sales director and is one of our good Gemvision CAD advanced users. And Whitney Rogers is our custom solutions success manager. So between the both of them, they will be demoing MatrixGold and CounterSketch. So Bo and Whitney, if you want to say hello.
Hey, everyone.
Whitney.
Hey, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining.
All right. So I will just go on a brief overview about what we have been working for each software. And then, look, every time that I am in a presentation, I'm just willing to see the demo for the software, not listening to someone like me talking about what we have done. So I will go fast on this side. Just to tell you that on the MatrixGold side, our biggest focus has been getting MatrixGold ready for Rhino 7. So as you know, Rhino 7 came out at the end of last year. So we already released a beta version. And now we have been working on getting everything ready for in MatrixGold to run on Rhino 7. What does this mean to the MatrixGold users? Well, Rhino, every time that they release a new version, they keep improving the software. So because MatrixGold is based on this engine, it means that MatrixGold also become more efficient. It also means that we are adapting the new SUD, that this is something that Rhino is very, very proud of. So this is a new technology to build any geometry. So we are adapting the new SUD from Rhino. And also something that can be very, very interesting in the jewelry trade is the QuadRemesh. So you know that we are always, many times we're working with STLs. The QuadRemesh will allow you to, I like always to tell the same, that it's like putting a blanket on top of this geometry, and then you will be able to edit this geometry that you created with the QuadRemesh thanks to the SUD. This is on the Rhino side. So when we were in the team, when we were talking about what will be our achievements, we were just thinking, about this. But because we know that all the jewelers always are giving us a lot of feedback, and we really appreciate that, because I know that at the end of the day, the jewelers, what they have to do is just work with the software to produce their design. So anytime that they send us any feedback, either in the social media, by email, we really, really appreciate that. So it's something that they are putting their time to report this to us. So I always like to appreciate and say thank you about this. So we report all this to our developers, and we have had a bit of time to do some improvements from all this feedback. This is all that Bo will be showing you. Something that I would like just to mention now, and then Bo will go through it, is something that we have done recalculating on the parametric side. As you know, MatrixGold is parametric. And we found out that when you had big files with a lot of parametric history, every time that you were inside one command and you were making some edits to that command, you were recalculating all the geometry every time. This was taking a lot of time, and it wasn't good enough for any designer. So what we have done now is that while you have the command open, you can make any changes that you want. And once you are ready to validate, you validate, and then all the geometry recalculates. So if you look, the time that will get to get one file or one design ready working like this on the parametric side, it improves a lot the time, a lot. So this is something that I'm excited to see how Bo presented to us. On the CounterSketch side also, as you know, CounterSketch, we always like to say that is a tool to sell jewelry. And we know that in these days, we had a few months ago, the presentation from Harold from Stuller telling us that every time it's becoming more and more important selling online, presenting online. So we know that getting these renders from CounterSketch and presenting them to the customers becomes more and more important. This is why in CounterSketch, we have focused on this side and we have improved the both options that we have in CounterSketch. One is the desktop version and the other is the streaming version. So on the desktop version, what we have done is improve all the portfolio. All right. So in the portfolio now you can lock all the customer details, save your favorites designs that you have, and then you can, as you can see in the presentation, save, review, and edit your renders. On the CounterSketch streaming is something that is a solution that is becoming more and more popular in Gemvision because it's a subscription, so you are not tied to a high-end computer. You can pay a quite easy monthly subscription every month, and it's becoming very, very, very important for our customers. The problem that we had before is that we wasn't able to export all these renders. So this was something big that we were missing. And in this release that will happen in the next coming days, we have improved that. So Whitney will show us now how you can manage all these files, how you can get a render, the same that you have been doing always in CounterSketch. But then our developers have built a very, very cool area where you can manage all these files. And it's not just about exporting these files that you get from the renders. It's also importing 3DM files and CounterSketch files in the CounterSketch streaming. So this is something that wasn't able to be done before. And you know that when you have, just keep in mind that you can have MatrixGold and CounterSketch. So MatrixGold to make any design that you want, CounterSketch to present it to your customers. So if you have MatrixGold and CounterSketch streaming, you can design anything that you want in MatrixGold. Then you can bring it to CounterSketch and present it to your customer, editing anything that you, editing obviously materials and anything that you can do with the scale and move. But this, putting all these tools together, it does a very, very, very powerful combination. So as I said, I don't want to go too long with this presentation. I think that Bo and Whitney will do something amazing, showing all that we have been working with. So whenever you want, Bo, if you want to start with the MatrixGold, I leave it to you.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for that. And so, yeah, we're super excited about, the MatrixGold update. So I'll just kind of go over a few features that Oriol kind of touched on. And then I'll go over kind of some modeling stuff. So the first he spoke about is sub-D functionality. Hopefully a lot of you guys are familiar with it, but if you're not, it's a way that you can subdivide a surface, and using selection tools, you can push, pull, and scale to create this organic design, right? QuadRemesh, as Oriol said, you feed the command a mesh, right? And then Rhino will then put a blanket over that mesh, like Oriol discussed, right? And kind of simplify the geometry that makes up that mesh. The third one is the render denoiser. For those that don't know, this is extremely powerful tool. So essentially, it's a AI inside the render engine that kind of guesses what you're trying to render and helps the render engine along, right? The next thing is the faster parametric updating. As Oriol said, we have the recalculate on command end, which is whenever you complete a command, that's when MatrixGold updates, right? So it used to be every change you made inside the parametric command, MatrixGold will recalculate, recalculate, recalculate. So now you have a toggle to where you can say, only recalculate once I complete the command. We also added a few enhancements to the gem reporting, which I'll showcase. And then we took a lot of the customer feedback that we received and implemented quite a few of those. And for those that don't know, we've also launched the Gemvision forum. So hopefully we can chat about that. So this is the support for Rhino 7. So this is sub-D, as you can see, also with denoiser render. And this down here is going to be your remesh. So you take a dense mesh, right? And you can remesh it into a much more simplified geometry type. Some quality of life improvements. The gem reporter, we received a lot of feedback on. So now you can see an example image of the material type, and you're also able to select just the gems that you want to select. And the last thing, as Oriel said, recalculate geometry is in the preferences. You're able to toggle this on and off. So with that said, I'll go ahead and get into our software. All right, so as I said, this is just a curve that I generated with interp curve. So you're able to run a sub-D pipe on it, right? And we'll choose a radius of 0.65. We'll put our end caps on and then strut the vision. If we want a smooth one, we'll just hit 0. Let's rerun it for this one. All right, so as you see, it created a nice organic model. Well, with sub-D, I'm able to select the faces and push, scale, or move them, right? So if you can imagine pushing and pulling these seams, you can create very organic, flowy objects, such as scroll works or figures or stuff like that. So we can actually take this and move them in like this. We can grab this seam and kind of blend. So now we have a truly unique piece of scroll. So that's sub-D. So let me do a quick file new. All right, so the second one we want to chat about is going to be the QuadRemesh. So this is a head that I pulled from our library, right? And it's for a smaller stone size. So what I went ahead and did is meshed it so we can click it and you can see the mesh makeup of this model, right? So with QuadRemesh, I can type QuadRemesh, and I get this dialog box that pops up. So I tend to go by the target end length. So what we can do is toggle our preview on and hide input objects. So we'll allow it to recalculate that mesh. And as you can see in here, you can also couple it with sub-D. So you can redo the mesh, the current mesh, or you can redo the current mesh into a sub-D object, right? Now, this is a really intensive command because it takes a lot of computer resources. So let's see where that.
Yeah, and when you are doing this, I think that is also important to mention that the quad cone that you will get, this is the faces that you are going to get, right? Oh, the 2000. So this means that we are adding all these faces, and it's always good to keep in mind that once you want to edit the piece that you are going to get, you need to keep in mind that every of these 2000 squares will be the parts that you will be able to modify, meaning that you will be able to pull this part and move it and make any addition that you want.
Yeah, exactly. So if I convert to sub D right here, right, I now have a sub D object. I also have symmetry right here, which I can toggle on. So that way each prong will be mirrored to each quadrant, right? So now you can see I have a sub D object that's symmetrical. So now once I accept this, I have a sub D object that I can, let's hide this. So I have a sub D object that I can push and pull.
And these are the 2000 squares that we were talking about.
Yep. So that's a really powerful tool, especially whenever, so for instance, a good use case for this would be, let's say you have a head like this in a library that's already a mesh, right? But you want to adapt it to a larger stone. So I'm able to convert it to a sub D object and scale the top portion to where it'll fit around that larger stone. So let me do a quick file new, and I'll show you guys exactly what denoiser is.
Just for all the ones that are in this presentation, if you have any question, we have an eye on the chat, so ask anything that you want.
Yes, please. All right, so denoiser, as I said, is it's essentially an AI that kind of helps the render engine speculate and adapt to whatever you're trying to render at that particular moment. So what I'll do here is go to my ray trace mode, and then I'll apply the Matrix Classic render style. And I have a few materials down here that I will go ahead and apply. So I like the shiny car paint. If you come to the weekly Matrix Gold sales webinars, you probably understand this. So the next thing I'll do is just apply a custom rose color that I like to use. So from here, we can go ahead and select the render. And what it'll do, it'll show the render box right here, which is quite large. So as I'm rendering, all of this pixelation, this is called noise, right? So essentially what the denoiser does, if I zoom in right here and toggle this on, you can see it'll clean that image up quite nicely. And it'll also help with your render times too. So you can see I'm only 30 seconds into the path tracing, and it's already a really good render. So that is the denoiser. Any questions on this one?
It's a very good example, Bo. So it cuts the render time just in half. Yeah, it's amazing.
And it does. And I tried an example of this where I had 1,500 passes, and it cut almost 4 minutes off of my render time, which is crazy. So let's close that.
They're asking if you just put a finish on the base.
On the base. Specify base, Jane. The ground.
The ground plane.
No, so the denoiser goes over the whole image, right? It's an AI essentially that says, oh, hey, I see that there's a color difference right here, so let me try to make that clearer for you, right? And it kind of just helps your render engine along. This is a shiny car paint background, ground plane, sorry. Also, there are some cool things that you can do with post effects. So I can turn like surface and edges. So now I can see my isocurves, stuff like that. But let me go ahead and show you guys what recalculate can do. If there's no more questions on denoiser. All right, so I don't need my render studio, so I will go ahead. Let's open up our recalculate. So while this loads, I'll show you guys over here on the right. This is the sub-D panel that you can apply within your viewport. So you can select any of your sub-D commands just like you could over here. So if we open up this design, right, this is a model that I drew relatively quick just to show you guys where the recalculate lives. So it lives under the preferences in dynamic commands. So to start, I'll show you guys what it does when it's off. Okay, so as I said, this is a design I just came up and it's pretty parametric. So I can come into the dynamic commands and edit.
I think that this is super, super powerful. I have been doing a few tests with this command. And again, it takes half of the time to make any edit on a parametric tree.
All right, let's make sure it's off one more time. All right, now let's make sure our parametric history is intact. And if it is, it should update. There we go. So you see, after every little move I make with this gem on curve, everything that's related to it will recalculate. And that can be pretty time consuming if you're a perfectionist like I am and you like to be very specific about where you place things. So what you can do is go under dynamic commands and turn recalculate geometry on command end on. So now I can do things like this, where I edit and adjust my prongs that are related to my stones, and the geometry will not recalculate until I accept the command, right? So once I accept it, everything will update.
Now we are doing all in the background, all the operation. Yeah. And probably, Paul, you can show the same that you have done with the gems on curve, so people can see exactly how you can move now the stones up and down without having to recalculate.
Yep. So I can move them up and down and they won't recalculate until I have them exactly where I want, and right click to accept the command, and then the program will recalculate. It just saves you time in the interim where you're making those little adjustments, right? There you go. So the last thing that I will show is going to be the Gemvision forum. So let's go ahead. I will head over there now.
But did you talk about the gem report?
Oh, no, I did not. Let's showcase that. Let's do a quick.
Because this is something that the people has been asking quite a lot, and I think that is important to show.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and put just a stone out here and accept, and then I'll just select it, get my Rhino gumball, and just hold Alt to create quite a few gems out here. Okay, so now I can go to my render studio and apply different stone materials to these stones. So let's select a few of them, apply diamonds. change the color to these so I know I applied. Select these, we'll apply amethyst. These, and we'll apply emeralds. So if I head over to view, go down to gem report and toggle my recalculate, you can see it presents all the stones in the document, but if I open these up, you get a little picture of exactly what material it is. Whenever you hover over, you can see it'll highlight in the viewport. And you're also able to select only these gems, which is super useful when you have a large pave with multiple stones and different, stone qualities. Any questions about this?
It's very cool.
Doesn't look like we have any questions. If you guys have questions, please feel free to ask away. So I know this was previously discussed, but I want to show you guys a bit more. So if you are a license holder of MatrixGold or CounterSketch, you can register for the forum. Now, this is a place for like-minded individuals to come and talk about all things Gemvision. So if you would like, go to forumgemvision.com and register. But we do have a question. You mentioned some user improvements. Yeah, so the user improvement would definitely be the recalculation, the gem report, etc. You meant STL or OBJ? Is the sub-D menu only supported with Rhino 7? Yes, sub-D is only supported in Rhino 7 because that's when it was implemented. If you're importing a mesh, is there a preferred file type in terms of optimization like STL or OBJ? Ted, it really just depends on where you're coming from. If you're coming from ZBrush or something like that, then ZBrush only works with OBJ, so you have to import it that way. As far as optimization, they're pretty much the same. I would prefer an STL just because it's a more common file type accepted throughout Rhino, Yes, Lori. So you have to be running the beta 7 to have the sub-D available. So for now, until we go live with this update, right, you do have to have the beta running. But that's the purpose of this this webinar, right, is to show you guys what's coming soon. You want to add anything to that?
Sorry, Bill Bishop was asking user improvements that we have done, and we have a list that we will put in our release notes once we release the software. But there is issues that has been reported, fixed like the F8 super select hotkey not working in some scenarios. We fixed an issue where some display modes may appear missing in some scenarios. The show high table snaps when toggle on or off. We also have fixed the project sorting, not sticking through restarts. We also have added new models for the ClayU. So even we have the sub-D, ClayU is still inside MatrixGold. So we also have added a lot of ClayU models in the library. Also, we have been improving profiles, gallery rails, prongs, just for performance. There was also some problems with the prong placer that we also have been working and we have fixed. There is also little things that the customers were reporting about values on the sliders, that the steps on these sliders should be smaller or bigger. We also have been improving many of these requests.
Yeah, and there was a question, what's the difference between CounterSketch and MatrixGold? So this webinar is really just to showcase what's coming up with both software. So if you want more details, I recommend heading to gemvision.com. Inside the learning tab, I believe there is webinars, and you can sign up for both types of webinars that we offer. So any more questions on the MatrixGold part before I pass it over to Whitney?
I think that we are okay, Bo. Thank you for the presentation. It's been amazing, and I hope that we still don't know exactly what is the date that we are going to release these new versions. But as I said, it will be in the next coming days. So we will announce it in all the social media and everywhere. But for sure that the people is excited to have it in their hands.
Yeah. So there is one more. So Lynn said, do you see being able to price directly from MatrixGold? So pricing has a lot of variables in it. Lynn, I would say if you want to submit to Stuller, you can use the submit design to CAM. Other than that, I'd let Oriole speak on that, but that definitely would be a good idea, you know?
Look, the good thing is that we have CounterSketch and MatrixGold under the same roof. So we are sharing technology, meaning that every time, even the experience will be totally different because we still want to keep it like this. The technology will be very, very seamless. Then something about pricing, something that you can do, and is something that I was talking before, is that if you have both solutions, what you can do is import the file from MatrixGold to CounterSketch, and then you can price it from CounterSketch. So in CounterSketch, we have all the tools to price it. So this is something that I have been doing, and let me tell you, it's pretty cool. So the way that it works is that depending on what layer you put the materials in MatrixGold, then you will be able in CounterSketch to select if it's in the material 1 or material 2. And then from there, you can make many, many variations and price it from there. So this is a solution. But as I said, we try, one of the things that we are focusing is to give the same experience, whatever solution you are using. And now I'm talking not just about CounterSketch and MatrixGold, also in Stuller. So we are a big company. We have many, many solutions. So we want to give from the same experience from any point. So we know that any customer, when he gets on any of our solutions, he finds the workflows are very, very similar. So the learning curve for any of our solutions is shorter.
Yeah, that's a good call out. If you have CounterSketch and MatrixGold, as Oriole said, you can export to and price that way. And I think if I'm not wrong, Lynn, you do have both. So give that a try. All right, Whit, you want to take the reins?
Thanks, guys. Of course. Let me just pull my share screen up here.
And let me tell you, Whitney has been struggling because I put her in this mess saying you have to demo CounterSketch. We were trying just to get everything ready. So there was a few things that still we had to fix. So a big kudos for Whitney to have everything ready.
No worries, no worries. Are you able to see my CounterSketch streaming screen?
Yep.
Awesome,
Yes,
perfect.
we are.
All right, so we talked a little bit about CounterSketch streaming. So one of the updates that will be coming soon is a new launcher. So this launcher goes directly into the web, just like you were typing gemvision.com or stuller.com. The launcher would launch straight from a web browser now. So you'll see this screen come up, a little bit about our updates, and then you would select launch streaming from this screen. Here you can see that it looks basically the same. So we haven't changed anything about the start screen or what that looks like. But a couple of things I want to highlight is our new portfolio view. So coming into all ring designs, I'm going to select a few designs just to add into my portfolio. So hovering over the design, I can select some favorites here. At the top with the portfolio, I'm going to select the plus sign just to create a new portfolio to save these designs. Select Submit. Here at the bottom, I have my session picks, which allows me just to dump all of my selections directly into that portfolio I just created. So here at the top, you can see that my name updated. So that tells me that is where these items will be saved to under that name within the portfolio. So now I'm going to go ahead and open up one of the designs that I chose. And I'm just going to create a few renders. That way I can showcase you all the features that are within the new portfolio. So with this piece, I'm just going to rotate it, select my render icon. So the new portfolio is going to give you a wider variety of options. It's going to give you the option to save your customer's details. If your customer has a couple of favorite designs that you want to keep note for in future, it's also going to allow you to save these renders. So we talked about not being able to import and export renders from CounterSketch streaming. So this will allow that functionality going forward, to where if you want the customer to maybe take home a picture, get them excited about the ring that they've created, their design. If they want to share it with friends on social media, you can drop your logo into the image. Or if you're simply just creating a marketing scheme for your own business and you want to utilize some CounterSketch renders for marketing purposes. So now that I've generated a couple of different renders, I'm going to come back up to my portfolio icon, so my design manager. And here I have my name, and these are the designs that I have saved within the portfolio. Here at the top, you'll notice that there are a few different tabs now. So I have my designs. This is everything that I've chosen. I have a customer tab. So you can now add your customer's name, their address, phone, email, and you can also add any customer comments. So maybe the customer had a specific stone size, or they shared that they really love round center stones and sculptural designs. You can keep that information organized here within your portfolio. So that if the customer comes back, you can quickly review those notes and you know exactly what to show them within the software. You can also highlight their favorites. So if I go back into designs, if I hover over the image, there's a little star icon here. So if I know my customer really loved these two, I can save those into his favorite files. Maybe it's a repeat customer. They come back to you continually to create different things. This would be a great utilization for that, to keep track of their favorite designs. Lastly, you'll see that those two renders that I took have actually saved within the renders file. So this is super helpful. You can print these out for the customer or just keep track of the finished piece that you've created. You can utilize these again for marketing. For CounterSketch streaming specifically, you do have to go back to your home screen. And here at the top, you'll see that you have the option to manage files.
Yes, Winnie, this is one of the things that we were looking at. So now you should have all the folders here. So sometimes, yes, because we are communicating on the cloud, you still didn't get it straight away. This is something that we are trying to improve the speed on that. But the important part here is that if you go back to the CounterSketch streaming and you show the portfolio, all these renders will be available where you were showing here in this other part. If you go back to the prior, yes, here. So when you go to the home directory, you will have here all your folders and you will be able to watch them from here and then download them. So now we cannot see it because it still didn't refresh, but you will have all of them. You'll have the just little arrow to download them, and you will be able to download them wherever you want in your computer.
Yeah, so it will name it the portfolio name, so you'll be easily able to identify. So it's say Whitney Rogers, I would select it. It would then have a folder of all of the renders that I have populated within that portfolio for me to then download and save.
And also the upload file. sorry. I was just saying, Bo, sorry, that you can also from the right, you can upload any file, that this will be where you will be uploading any CounterSketch file or 3DM file. So what we were talking on pricing from MatrixGold to CounterSketch, if you would like to do that, you will be doing it from here.
There is a question from Caesar Whitney. Are these new features solely for CS streaming? Will they be available without?
So CounterSketch Perpetual, great question. I am moving into that. So for Perpetual, so here is CounterSketch Perpetual. So you'll have the same exact viewpoints. There are a couple differences between streaming and Perpetual, but same functionality will be available for both. So if I'm just going to hop back in and do something very similar. Select a few designs. I already have Whitney Rogers selected up there, so I'm going to select Add. Just going to open up this design in Perpetual and also just take a render so I can show you how you would save renders through the Perpetual version if that is what you have within your store. So I have a render there. I'm going to go straight back up to that design manager. Here I have a couple of renders that I took. And in order to save them or upload them from CounterSketch Perpetual, I'm actually going to hover over the portfolio name. I'm going to right click, and here I have the option to select Browse. And what that's going to do, it's going to open up the folder that has both my CounterSketch files as well as my rendering files in there. So this is how you would access, instead of going back like in streaming, we went back to the home screen, you would then just right click, select Browse, and it will pull up a file manager for you to be able to upload those and save those. One other thing that's available in Perpetual is if I select the render, I have a button here at the bottom that says Edit. If I select this, it's going to open the render up within a default editing program that I have. So for me, it just opened up in Paint. But this is an opportunity, especially for marketing purposes. If you wanted to create a Christmas ad, maybe you want to have your logo on everything. You know, this is a piece you've created for your business. Drop your logo in on the image. You can use it for marketing purposes or even send it out to customers utilizing that edit button. The edit button is only for Perpetual licenses at this time. See if we have any other questions.
Kevin,
All right.
Kevin said, looks great. He's been a long customer of ours.
I remember Kevin Weed. I believe we met years and years ago. It's been a long time. All right. Well, those were the. Oh, go ahead, Oriol.
If you want, what I can try to do is just share my screen. Let's see if I know that. Look, at the very beginning of this conversation with my teammates, we were saying we need to try to don't share up and down. And now I'm asking to share my screen, but I want to show just how it looks because I have now CounterSketch streaming open, how it looks, the projects and everything. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share the screen just 1 second.
Thanks, Oriol.
So yes, and I'm going to share my screen. That is actually this one. Share. So now I believe that everyone can see my screen, right?
Correct.
So this is what Winnie was trying to show us. So here is where you will have all the, as you can see here, you have the projects, I have the renders, and within the renders, I can download any that I want. So as you can see, this is one that I took yesterday. Now, if I just want to download it, the only thing that I need to do is just go here and download it anywhere I want from my computer. So when it was just to show you this, to show everyone this part, just to be sure that they understand what is the workflow on the streaming and the difference with the desktop version.
Thanks, Oriol. Appreciate it.
So now you have to share your screen again because I think that there is something left.
No worries. All right. The last thing we wanted to share with you guys today is just about our Stuller Connect event. So as you may know, we are not attending JCK this year, but we are hosting a Stuller Connect that it's in a virtual event where you can connect with experts throughout the company, not just Gemvision. So the event is going on from August 23rd to September 3rd. We'll have big savings on throughout various departments in the company. You can also schedule an appointment with one of our software experts. So if you don't own the software or you have more questions regarding the software, you're welcome to go to Stuller.com. In the top banner, you'll see the same exact emblem that says Stuller Connect, and you'll see a Schedule Now button, and that will populate a calendar for you to pick a time and date that works for your business, and you will have a live virtual one-on-one with whichever team that you would like throughout the company. So a little sneak peek into what we're offering. We have a couple promotional packages for MatrixGold for both new MatrixGold users as well as transition licenses. So if you have a previous Matrix license or Rhino license that qualifies you for the transition pricing, we have a few different packages for that as well. Some highlights in the packages is including training as well as some virtual seminars that we'll be announcing next year. And then moving into CounterSketch, we also have some great promotional packages for both our perpetual license and our streaming licenses. We have these paired with some of our Ever and Ever prototypes. So utilizing the Ever and Ever prototypes alongside with CounterSketch is very beneficial because all of those pieces are within the software. So you have a physical piece for your customer to try on to tell you what they like and don't like. You can then bring that piece over to CounterSketch, type in the SKU, and make the adjustments for that customer. So great to pair those two together. We'll also be announcing virtual seminars in 2022 as well for CounterSketch. So just some exciting offers to be on the lookout for. If you are interested, I'll encourage you to go to Stuller.com and register for a virtual appointment, and we can chat more about these offers. And lastly, thank you for joining. I hope this has all been very helpful for you guys. Thanks, Bo, for going through MatrixGold. I found that knowledgeable for myself as well. If anyone has any additional questions or comments, we'd love to answer those now. Looks like
Graham from UK is saying thank you. So as Winnie said, thank you all. And Bo and Winnie, you did a tremendous job. So just demoing the softwares. As I said, we still don't know the exact day that we will be able to release the two versions. We will do it at the same time. So the day that we will release the new launcher, MatrixGold and CounterSketch, because everything is goes together. The new launcher from MatrixGold will be from where we will be dealing with Rhino 6 and Rhino 7 licenses. So anyone that still doesn't have the Rhino 7 license, when they launch MatrixGold from the new launcher, they will stay on the MatrixGold on Rhino 6. But if the customers already have MatrixGold on Rhino 7, that this is something that we have been selling from last November, if I'm not wrong, the new launcher will detect the Rhino 7 license, and you will be asked to download the new MatrixGold version. So this being said, thank you so much. Just stay tuned with our social media and also the forum. If you are still not part of our forum, I just ask you to be there, because this is something that we will be pushing a lot in the next months. So hopefully we can build the community that we used to have in the old forum from Gemvision, so we can meet all together in this new forum. And that's all. So if Paul, Winnie, as I said, thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.
Thank
All right,
you.
everyone. Thanks. Have a good one.